been a number of pretty unpleasant incidents on social media, and I'd always been involved in photography and sports photography, and I thought to myself, what if anything would I be able to do to try and sort of highlight this issue? And I came up with the idea, contacted the manager at Show Racism Red Card and said, look, this is what I do, would it be any interest to the charity if I was to provide action shots for your editorial and your educational purposes? And they were quite keen on that idea. I was then speaking to a couple of other colleagues and friends, and they'd suggested why didn't I contact the museum at Hampden and see if they would be able to provide like a really small area where we could showcase some of the images, and that's pretty much really how the whole thing started. What I was hoping to do was just to highlight the positive side of it, because very often it's something that's spoken about in really kind of negative terms. And I wanted to almost kind of like celebrate that and showcase it in the way that I could, so this seemed like an obvious contribution, I suppose. There are a number of really exciting projects happening, backed by the Scottish FA, UEFA and FIFA. I wonder if you might be able to find out what those are, and I also wonder if you might be able to find a way to contribute and get involved. I got into photography probably when I was about 11 or 12, and my dad bought a new camera. His old one was basically, there was no trade-in value or no real sort of worth to it, so rather than getting rid of it, he said to me, did I want it? And then once I got one camera, that was it. It just kind of ignited a real passion. There are an incredible number of career pathways involved in football. What skills, passions or interests do you have which could lead you to one of the many careers involved in the game that you love? It's just an absolute privilege. You get to see some of the best sporting talent on the planet, and you get to be that little bit closer than pretty much every other spectator in the stadium. It's just nice to capture those moments. And also it's something, when you're doing it, well, certainly I become completely immersed in what I'm doing, and I don't really think about anything else that's going on at that moment in time. You're just focused on trying to capture the best image that you possibly can at that moment in time. I would hope that when people come and have a look at this exhibition, they would first of all start to notice and appreciate the number of nations that are captured in these panels. It very often resonates with football supporters when they actually take a moment and just think about the fact that within their club, the number of nations that are represented, and also there is a really strong connection between the support base and the players, and there's that synergy. So I'm kind of hoping that people might reflect on those types of themes. Take a look at the resources, check out all the panels. Can you identify how many nations are represented? Can you find out more about the cultures, languages, customs in each of those nations? Can you make links across the curriculum? There's absolutely no place for it in football. We're all human beings enjoying a game that we're all passionate about and that we all love and we all enjoy. Again, I wanted to try to set a tone of celebration and inclusion and have a positive conversation about anti-racist education rather than perhaps waiting for it to be framed in negative terms or responsive terms once something unacceptable has taken place. I suppose from my point of view, when I was a youngster, I loved being involved in a whole range of different sports, but it probably became quite apparent quite early on that I wasn't going to be a professional sports person. So what I would say, if you've got an interest or a love of sport and it's something you're interested in, it's a really good way of being involved. As I've said previously, it's a really good way of getting probably as close to the action as you can, unless you're actually either playing or officiating. So yeah, I would strongly recommend it. And yeah, basically give it a go.